So here is the walkthrough of the USCSS Mercia, which is a copy of the Nostromo. So here we are in the bridge. Did the best I could with the tools that Space Engineers provides as far as blocks and decorations and so forth to make a bridge that is close to what the Nostromo's bridge looked like. In Space Engineers, there's two modes. There's survival mode and there's creative mode. I almost always play in creative mode in order to make a ship the size of the Nostromo and the complexity of the Nostromo. There's no possible way, I don't think, in survival mode I'm going to be able to do that without spending years building a character with enough resources to be able to do it. So it's easier to do it in creative. That being said, it took months to build this vessel. A lot of trial and error to get it to work correctly, because not only do I want the Nostromo to look like the Nostromo, I want it to be able to function like the Nostromo. I want it to be able to pull payloads, act like a tugboat. I want it to be able to land on planets and take off from planets. I want it to be pressurized and all that kind of stuff. In order to do that, there's just an awful lot of stuff that goes into it. It has to have a power plant, which this spacecraft has 10 nuclear reactors. It has to have a hyperdrive. It's got many hyperdrive units all in serial connection, so we can move from point A to point B quickly. It's got to have the correct RCS engines, so it can move side to side, up, down. It has to have it has to have the correct size and number of gyroscopes in order to actually move this thing into pitch, to pitch and yaw and roll. There's all sorts of stuff that has to go into this thing. It's not just to look like the ship. It's got to be able to do what it's going to do. So here we are on the bridge, and so we're just going to start from this point here and end up on the outside of the ship. This is the pilot's seat right here. I'm going to sit down in the pilot's seat for a second. As you can see, there's one huge drawback to the Nostromo bridge, and that is it is a sucky bridge. Unless you are using video cameras to see what's in front of you, there is no freaking way you're going to see what's in front of you. It is really lousy. This is Ash's station here, Science Officer Station. Any one of these stations can fly the vessel. So the Science Officer Station is a little better. You can see a little bit more in front of you, but not much. So we're going to jump out of here for a second. We're going to go over to the command seat here and sit down here. I'm going to hit V. Now we're looking at the outside of the ship. So I'm going to accelerate here. There we go. That's a good aspect of the hydrogen fusion drives that power the ship forward. The smaller engines are all ion drives. These engines on top are hydrogen fusion drives, and then there's also hydrogen drives underneath in order to go up, or if we want to go down, we can go down. And then inside, anyway, we'll give you a whole tour of the whole thing. But anyway, so here it is, the USCSS Mercia, which is similar to the Nostromo. Again, it took me several months to build this thing. It uses modified blocks, that is modified engineering components that other people have modified that I've downloaded in order to pull this thing off. Not a lot of modified blocks. It's in parlance of Space Engineers, there's an awful lot of vanilla blocks that are used here, but there is some stuff I've used to be able to pull this thing off, to make it look close to how the Nostromo actually looks. So let us go and take a look here. So like the bridge on the Nostromo, you can walk around to the front. and go around this way. Ripley does that when she's looking for the cat towards the end of the movie. This is the corridor that gets to Mother. And here is Mother. And you can see that they're already looking at what is Special Order 937, huh? Anyway, again, this is not really, it's not exact, but it has the flavor of the Nostromo, which is the best I can do. So we'll go through A deck, and we'll go through A deck here. So heading back aft from the bridge, here is the commissary, ready room. It's where the food's prepared, where Kane has his problem, a little bit of indigestion. There's some plants here, place to cook your food. Down this corridor here, there's a head. There is a vending machine to get pop if you want. Here is the med bay, where if you have a facehugger attached to you, you'd be laying here, and Ash would be here, looking and seeing what's going on with your vital signs. And down through this way, we go to the first junction, the main junction here on A deck. So back that way is the commissary and the bridge. This is the way to the cryogenic sleep unit, and this is Space Engineers cryogenic compartments. So now I'm in cryosleep. I'll get out of cryosleep. So and then through this door here is where the crew quarters are. This is where Ash gets his head bashed off by jeepers, by Parker after he gets stabbed in the back with a with a cattle prod by Lambert after he tries to choke Ripley in this bed here to death with a rolled up magazine. Anyway, so we'll go back to the main junction here. So one thing about the Nostromo in the movie is that they built the sets they needed to build for the script. This is an actual ship that there's a whole lot of stuff in this ship that I had to invent because there's just not a lot of set that they built for a ship that's 1,000 feet long. And that I used plans uploaded on the internet of what a Bison class Lockmart space tug is supposed to look like. And so I got the overall size, which is about 1,000 feet long and about 650 feet wide, about 300 feet high, which makes it a very, very big ship. It's the biggest ship I've ever designed in Space Engineers, and it's very, very heavy. So back here, aft on A deck is the smallest deck. Back here is actually I added an airlock, A deck airlock, so you can get out of the ship without having to go down to the belly airlock. The belly dock is where the belly airlock is where the people would go if they're going to go to investigate a planet or whatever. And it's got a lift that takes you down to the planet and everything, just like the movie. And then back over here is the sort of the main frame in here, in case you wanted to unplug Hal or Mother or whatever. So that is pretty much A deck. It's pretty simple. There is up here. There is a there's a maintenance area up in here. If you wanted to, if you needed to look around to see if there was anything that might be using the air ducts as a means to move around the ship. This gets you all sorts of places outside of the main you know, the main crew area. So I wanted to try to keep that, you know. Now we'll take a we'll go down to B deck. Turn off the lights here. We'll go down to B deck. What's on B deck? Well, let's go forward in B deck first. You know, let's go down to we'll go down here. There's, let's see here. There's showers and equipment lockers in B deck. I'm not going to open that door because that door, it goes to an unpressurized section. I should really have a warning sign about that, but I don't have that. And this goes over to another airlock up here, which takes you to a service port on the port side of the ship to in case you need to get over there to do any work. I'm not going to take you into every single little nook and cranny of the ship. Suffice to say, there's quite a bit of nooks and crannies in this thing. This is sort of a personal storage locker for larger items. You know, larger crew items that you know, they're not shipping; they're just part of crew paraphernalia that they might bring on board and store while they're crewing the ship. It's probably going to be left there for quite a bit of time. And then down this way, down these stairs, and if you notice in the movie Alien, there's no stairs in the Nostromo, which it just bugs the heck out of me, because on a ship that's 1,000 feet long, to have everything accessed by ladders is just insane. So through this airlock here is the long tube that extends out, and I will actually go out there so you can see what that is. So if you're going to dock at a space dock, this is how you would get off the Nostromo. That shows, and then here we are. And now you're outside. So anyway, so we'll go back inside now. Turn the artificial gravity back on. That shuts and this opens up. And we'll go back down through here. These wall panels were modded by somebody who decided they wanted a mod that looked like the A deck of the Nostromo, so I downloaded those. Space Engineers has a humongous modding community, so they've got all sorts of people making all sorts of different modified stuff, which is really cool because it can help your ship look a little bit more unique. So we'll go aft here. Equipment lockers. This is a lift that takes you down to the belly airlock that takes you to the outside. I'll go down there later, actually. I think I'm going to go down there now. I think we're going to go down. We're going to start down, and we'll end up on the upper section here. So we're going to go down. We're going to go all the way down to D deck. So here is the airlock that would go. So you're going to want to shut that. And this takes you to an elevator that, if there was a planet, we could land on it. So this is how they would get out in the movie Alien when they're taking the elevator down underneath the ship. Go back up. And there's warning lights that go off and everything like that too. I don't have the warning lights turned on right now. I just have the service lights on. So we're going to go aft onto D deck. So this is the engineering deck right here. and you can see it says engineering. I downloaded all the semiotics from Alien to have on different screens. Also, this is the way to get to the shuttle Narcissus. Is through this companionway right here. We can go up here. This is how you escape the ship, basically. The passages I had to, I'm stuck with actually having to make passages based on the actual architecture of the ship, not based on the script, because the script architecture and the actual engineering architecture are different. So you open up here, and now you're in the starboard shuttle bay, and there is no pressure on that, so I'm gonna go through there. So I will exit here, and I'll go back down this long corridor. But this is the only way you can actually get to the Narcissus off the Nostromo. It's a long-ass drive. On the actual plans, there's supposed to be 2 shuttles, but the Nostromo, for whatever reason, only had 1. The other one was missing, for reasons unknown. Through here, you get to the engine room. This is the engine room control station. This is where Brett and Parker would be hanging out. I'll close that. And through there is the actual engine room. So we can go take a look in there. I'm going to put my space helmet on, because there is no oxygen out there. So here we are in the engine room. So like I said before, I've got 10 nuclear reactors. These are called arc reactors, which is, I don't know, like riffing on Iron Man. And then in the back, I've got these 5-story high gigantic gyroscopes. So these are the biggest gyroscopes you can get, and you need them in order to be able to get a ship like this to have any kind of pitch or yaw or roll control. Any normal sized gyroscope, you would never be able to turn the ship around. So we can go up either one of these staircases. We'll go up this staircase. So anyway, this is the reactor room. We're going up to where the jump drives are going to be. I'll take you where the jump drives are. This is the airlock to engine pylon. So actually, we can go out there first. So we're going to go out here. Now we are outside the spacecraft. That is a vertical hydrogen thruster designed to help me go, down if I have to, and then go down here through this port here. And now we are in an engine pylon. I'll turn the lights on. So if I go down here, there's a big, huge empty room, and over here are 8 humongous ion drives, not hydrogen drives, but ion drives. So what these do is they slow the ship down. So if I'm piloting the spacecraft and I decide to stop, these things fire, and this entire chamber is filled with white-hot plasma. This is a hydrogen engine. If this hydrogen engine was about here, then these things would cook that thing. They would barbecue that thing, and that thing would explode. So that's moved way over here. So that's why there's this big empty space. Space Engineers is a really cool game, but it does have some ways you can cheat. And one of the ways you can cheat is you can have ion engines actually contained inside of a spacecraft, and these will actually slow the spaceship down. In the circumstances where you want to have a spaceship design where you don't want to have a bunch of ion thrusters pointing forward. And I didn't want to do that because I'm doing the Nostromo, and there's some design aesthetics that I need to keep. So that's why I did it that way. Anyway, now we're going to get out of here. We'll go back up. This is a ladder that goes down to access servicing another one of the large hydrogen vertical thrusters. Turn my lights off. We'll go back down inside the spacecraft. And we will go up to where the jump drives are, or the hyperdrive. And there's some signage to engine pylons and to jump drive module. So we're going to go up to the jump drive module. So the jump drive module is in the upper section of the spaceship. And I'm going to sit down here at the control console for a second. So the thing that sits on top of the spacecraft, this thing here, not only does it contain the connector portions where you can actually lock onto a spacecraft to pull it, or like the Nostromo could pull the refinery, but this module up here, that is where the actual hyperdrive is located. So here is the hyperdrive room, and these are all individual jump drives. Each one of these units, and I can't remember exactly how many I have. I've got a bunch. Allow this ship to go faster than light. I could theoretically power the ship with just one jump drive, but it's not going to move me very far because the ship weighs so much. It has so much mass that I need all these serialized jump drives in order to go anywhere. Anyway, that is the jump drive room. They are all green, which means they are all charged and ready to go. I'll go back down into the service area. That corridor leads on to the port engine pylon, which looks just like the starboard engine pylon, so I won't bother going in there. We will go. Now we're going to start moving forward. Actually, before I start moving forward, this door here, all that does is go out to the back of the ship. Beyond that door is literally the ass end of the ship. So we're going to go forward here. This is a really creepy view down here. You can look at the reactors way down there. So we're going to go through here. And in here, I can take my helmet off because we are now in pressure. And in this room, oh, the light's off. I wonder why the light's off. I don't know why the light's off, but it is. That's the room where Brett meets his end. There's supposed to be a light on in here, but I, for whatever reason, have it turned off, which blows because it looks really creepy and it looks really cool too, but that's the way it is. I'm going to shut this thing. This is a cargo bay. I added some cargo bay doors because the fuselage in the Nostromo is so massive, even though it's just a tug. I figured I'd add a couple of cargo bays for smaller cargo in case it was not acting as a tug, and this is one of them. There's another one below this one, because now we're on C deck. We were on D deck, now we're on C deck. And you sit down here and you can open it up. I'm not going to open it up right now, but you know, these cargo bays doors can open up. I go through this airlock. Now there's airlocks here because this cargo bay can be zero pressure, which makes an airlock here important. So here we are. Now we're moving forward. So on this deck is at the very end of this deck is where Ash would have his blister. So now we're in B deck actually. So down this way. Oops, sorry, I'm wrong. We started on B deck. Again, this is a bit of a labyrinth. So we're going to go down to C deck. Now we're on C deck. So through here we can go to another cargo bay. This is a smaller cargo bay. These are cargo modules where you can store stuff. And then through here, I figured if the Nostromo, you know, maybe the Nostromo needed to have some kind of, or the Nostromo class ship should have some kind of capacity to have passengers. And so this is a passenger stateroom with two double berths here, and there's also a door that connects to another stateroom that has 4 double berths. So you can have up to 12 passengers as well as the 7-person crew. I'm just going to leave all these doors open. I'm going to shut this door though because this should not be open. Okay. So on this deck is where Ash's blister would be, which is located down here. And And now we are in Ash's blister. So you can steer the ship. You can see how fast this ship steers, which is, it steers like a pig. It really does steer like a pig. Not easily. But actually, this is a really good place to steer the ship from, though, because you have a really good view. Ash's blister has a lot better view than the command bridge in the Nostromo, let me tell you. There is no pressure in there. There's no pressure in there. Let's just do that. So then we're going to go down here. I wonder if there's pressure in here. Nope, there's no pressure in here either. There's a lot of the spacecraft that does not have any pressure. So then we're going to go up. You can see that and now we're back up on A deck. So we're going to go outside the spacecraft for a little bit because I want to show you the exterior. We're going to exit through the A deck airlock. Okay. And then we're going to go up here. We're going to go out. We're going to walk around the outside of the ship. I'm going to put this guy down here. I'm going to, let's see here. Whoops. Oops. So here I am. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can actually so there, now you have a good sense of the scale of the person. Again, the ship is about 1,000 feet long. Actually, it's a little over 1,000 feet. And it's 600 and some odd feet wide. Again, 300 feet high. Something like that. Again, I tried to keep the flavor of the Nostromo. I couldn't make it exactly the same. But you can walk, if you want to have a jog around the Nostromo, you can do that. This contraption up here oops, is for actually refueling, if you want to actually put fuel in it. There's an airlock here, which actually, in case you need to get outside and get into the jump drive, you can get in through there too. Now we're back in the jump drive. Jump drive module relativistic effects can happen in this location. Please use extreme caution. Thanks. These are the vectored vertical thrusters. At one point I had actually engines in here. They didn't work very good. They didn't produce the thrust that I needed, so I got rid of them, and these are just for show. And I replaced them with these big, huge vertical thrusters, these big vertical hydrogen thrusters. So, and these are the back. So these are the four big main engines, and then there's a whole bunch of ion thrusters in the back here too. So that if you're cruising around in atmosphere trying to find a landing location, you're not going to use these big made engines because you're just going to go too fast and you're going to run into mountains and crash. So I have smaller maneuvering thrusters that allow you to do that. And then I've got some forward hydrogen thrusters here, and then I've got the landing gear. Go turn all this stuff on for you. Just let's see, I can hop in there. So you can see the landing gear have been deployed now. These are custom landing gear that I built, and they're they work okay. And they've got little spinning lights to make so you can see what they're doing. It looks really cool on a planet. It works. I'll get back in here. Nope. Anyway, down here where these red lights are blinking, this is where the Narcissus would dock. Are my lights on here? So this is where the Narcissus would dock. I don't have a Narcissus right now. I'm trying to figure out how to make one that will actually work properly with this thing. But this is the location of the ship where the Narcissus would actually lock. One thing that is very self-evident is that the model work that was done on the movie, as amazing as it is, there's a huge scale discrepancy between different aspects of the model that they built, because the vast expanse of this section here in the movie, it just doesn't match up with the reality of the overall model. But then again, it's a movie; it's not meant to be real. You can see the outside here. This is where the other cargo bay doors are. This is an antenna that I built to match that weird, really ridiculously placed big antenna in the model. I put it on a rotor in order to get it at that angle. It's really annoyingly placed. I mean, you have to have a very flat spot in order to land this thing. In the first iteration of this model, when I built it, I didn't have nearly enough vertical thrust, and so in order to take off with the Nostromo, you had to basically fly it off the ground like an airplane, which means you had to be using the main engine's full throttle, and then you had to be really cranking on the gyroscopes to get the nose up. And it took a very, very long flat runway in order to take off, or you were going to run into things. So and that's why I got rid of the you can see my shadow. That's why I got rid of the vertical thrusters in there, and I replaced them with these guys, because there's just no way to make it take off properly other than that. Anyway, so I think I showed you everything. It took me, how long did it take you to make this? It took months. Again, months to do that. The ship does have some armaments. It's got a whole bunch of these ball turrets that are basically robot sentry guns that shoot anything that are bad. So if a pirate ship were to go around here, these things would automatically fire. It's got these rocket launchers that are also forward mounted. It's got two laser rangefinders, and it's got these guys here, which are ore detectors in case I'm going to go mining. Anyway, and this side of the ship is exactly the same, except it's in shadow. So there you go. There you have it. There is the Mercia, which is my version of the Nostromo. It's a pig to fly. It's scarier than hell to land. It's not an easy land. I crash this thing landing all the time. So how they landed in the movie, it's pretty much realistic. Anyway, that's it.